Hi everyone, my name is Miguel Magalhães and welcome to another episode of D Nights TV. This week we're going to change things a little bit and talking about gaming. With me, I have firstly Joana from Exceedme, who is the CCO, which we discussed previously, can either stand for commercial or community, so people can find out afterwards what she does. How are you, Joana?
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very well today.
And with me, I also have Gonçalo from Volt Games, which is the COO. That one I think it's harder to miss. So he controls oversees the overall operations from the studio because Volt Games is a publisher, a gaming publisher. And thank you for being with us today, Gonçalo.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. Hi, everybody.
As usual, we will start the episode by doing a quick recap of 3 stories that I chose from the previous week. And the first one is related to Aptus, which is a Web3 company that was in the news the previous week because unlike the industry, which is facing a readjustment process, since the beginning of the year, Aptus has grown somewhere near 500%, I believe. And I wanted to start with Gonçalo and ask him why that is happening.
Yeah, exactly. So Aptus, it was launched near October 2022, so last year. It's been like 3-4 months. And what they did is they released now the smart contracts. So they put the smart contracts open sourced, which made like a lot of developers wanted to join the development process. They checked the smart contracts. They liked the smart contracts. So there were a lot of developers and users trying now to develop on that blockchain, including a Korean gaming studio. And I think that was the biggest boost here because it was a gaming studio, really popular in Korea, that started developing and announced a partnership with the Aptos blockchain. And what they also did, the Aptos blockchain, they released the white paper in the Korean language as well, which make everything easier for the Korean users. And I think all of this, it was like a really smart move from Aptos and make Aptos being one of the hottest blockchains and chain right at the moment.
Yeah, I saw something that they had like 50 active developers and somewhere near, I think it was over 30K users, which is not that much compared to other blockchains. And so it's always I'm not going to say funny, but interesting to see how platforms that not necessarily have the traction of the competitors, but are being superior in terms of valuation. We have had some cases in that regard, and so let's see how that unfolds, and maybe in the future they can present some more interesting and credible results. Let's call it that way. Hopefully. The second story that I chose is related to the Porsche NFT launch, which had been announced, and there was some expectations on what they were going to do, and in the end it didn't go as according to plan. Joana, what happened here and why were so many people commenting on the collection online?
Well, basically, what happened is that Porsche, I think they tried to surf a wave, but they were not successful, and they had more backlash than actually good results with this action. To be honest, I think they did everything wrong, and I hope that this mint also serves as a lesson to other companies who are thinking of similar moves on how to build a Web3 strategy and a proper community before launching an NFT collection or a token or anything Web3 related. I think what they did here was trying to bring a Web2 community or consumers group, let's say, because Porsche is not exactly a community, onto the Web3 without any kind of preparation, education, message creation. And of course, that had a backlash, because if we look at other examples, for example, Nike, Starbucks, those are brands who are actively, of course, Web2 brands who are actively working on these communities for a long time now, in some cases years, before they actually step onto launching a collection or doing anything bolder. So I think Porsche, first of all, launched the collection, which I believe it was the lowest price were like $1.2K, something like that. I mean, they were not even humble enough to. I mean, they wanted to keep in the luxury sector, even in the Web3 world. And of course, I believe that this is more than anything. This can be a very valuable lesson on how to first introduce your Web2 community, your Web2 audience, before moving on to the Web3, and proper educate them, please, before doing something like this.
I love.
It seems like
tell me.
It seems like they did everything in a rush, and they tried to launch the Mint website as soon as they could. So it didn't go as planned. They sold out, I think, 15% of the NFTs planned, which
and
is
then closed.
Yeah, not even close to a sellout. And also, a funny thing is that I think they received a lot of backlash, which now means that that there were a lot of people looking in the project, and now they are getting a little bit of those of traffic into the project. So now the lowest price and the floor price is like 2 Ethereum for those 15%, which is kind of funny because they did everything wrong, but in the end they still have a couple of sales on the OpenSea, which is a little bit weird, and it only works because of the brand itself, because otherwise it would be like a fail.
It also shows that if they did everything well, they could be making millions out of this, and it's really a pity.
And there will always be people crazy about cars. So, and crazy about the brand of Porsche is just a matter of trying the right fit. I don't know if they are naturally Web3 natives, but if the love for the brand is there, they just need to find a way of placing it with the right mindset. And so hopefully on the next collection that probably won't appear for some months, they will do a better job and find some better partners, hopefully.
Let's hope so.
And the last story that I wanted to bring is not necessarily a new story, but it's actually associated with the topic for this episode. That's why I chose it, which is that Amazon is thinking of a new Web3 initiative. They had some weeks ago announced a partnership with Avalanche with Amazon Web Services in order to kind of function as a bridge between Web2 projects and Web3. That was kind of the idea that they said it was going to be the partnership. Right now, they are kind of saying, they said a lot of things, but the main idea is kind of gaming could be a gate for Amazon to bring Web2 users to the Web3 world. What do you guys think? And I'm going to start with you, Gonçalo. What do you guys think, taking into consideration the potential that Amazon has, not only as a brand, but also as the number of users that has across its ecosystem? What could they do in this area, gaming or other that you want to mention, that could be really important for Web3?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful news for the gaming and Web3 itself. Amazon is like one of the biggest companies in the world. They recently launched a gaming studio, which launched the New World, which was a success. It was a Web2 game, but it was a really great game. So I think them jumping in the Web3 and trying to connect the Web2 users to the Web3 world, I think it's going to be huge. They also have the support in terms of servers, in terms of marketplace. So I think they can do a really big success out of Web3.
And could, for example, in the gaming ecosystem, could for example, they use Twitch for something. Joanna, I'm thinking in terms of platform and in terms of gaming, and Twitch has is associated with gameplay and things like that. It's just one of the examples. Of course, they have the marketplace where they sell millions of copies on games. Could those be areas where they could do something? We don't know still how could they integrate, but could those be areas?
Of course, yes, of course. That there are just to name a few, because to be honest, I think that it's always good news when we see like these huge players entering this world and stepping in and showing that this is a technology for the future. This is an industry for the future. Of course, it's very important, especially for the harder to get Web2 users who are not so much into this, because this is kind of a exoterical industry, and I don't trust. It's just scams. And when you see these big players stepping in and like creating full teams for Web3 well, in this case, of course, for gaming, we are gaining here, Gonçalo, on both ways, right? For the industry and, of course, for Web3 and also for the gaming industry. I think it's always a good idea and good news for all of us. And now it's just a matter of time until understanding what exactly they mean with this, whether it is a new OpenSea on Amazon, who knows, or I mean the opportunities are huge. So, and I believe they will do a great job here. So.
Yeah, we will definitely look forward for what they are going to do especially in this year, where lots of things are going to appear. These were the main stories that I chose, and before we move on to the main topic, which is gaming, a message from our sponsor, WallID.
WallID, what we're doing pretty much is making authentication on the blockchain, and not only on the blockchain, seamless. So what we are at the end of the day, we are an aggregator of authenticators and ID providers. So we make it easy for the app developers, so decentralized app developers, to onboard users that do not know how to use a Web3 wallet. So you have all the Web3 features without needing your user to know how to use a wallet. And oppositely to that, if you are a traditional web app developer, you can rely on the blockchain features and the blockchain capabilities without your using needing to go and owning a Web3 specific wallet. And well, we do this actually adding on top of it the ability to verify users' data based on all digital ID infrastructures out there. And the main thing is that we rely on the specific features of the blockchain and the crypto to ensure that all the data is owned by the users. Nobody has access to that data without the user knowing or actually authorizing it. So we only leverage on those crypto features to build our product. So pretty much that's it. If you're a web app developer, you want to onboard more than 3% of the people, then come talk to us. If you are a traditional app developer, you want to use the blockchain, but you don't want your users to go with all the crypto lingo, with all the crypto text, come talk to us.
Moving back to our main topic, which is gaming, and I have here with me two people that are actively working in the gaming industry and with the Web3 gaming industry. So I'm going to start with Joana and ask, I think it's an easy question. I'm not much of a gamer. I play FIFA and some Uncharted, and I'm actually playing now Last of Us. So, but okay. I wouldn't say I'm a specialist. But for people who are kind of regular players or the most fanatic players, what is the main change that Web3 brings to a gamer overall, independently of the level or the regularity that he plays? What does it change?
Well, the most important thing, of course, there are many changes, but the most important thing is ownership. When we're talking about the gamer itself, and I'm not talking about the gaming studios, because then there is a lot of other kinds of opportunities. When we're talking about gamers in the Web3 world, we're talking about the opportunity for them to own everything that they actually buy on game. If you, even not being a gamer, you know that, for example, to play FIFA, you have to like buy those extra super special cards or players or whatever, you know. But when you are on the Web2 world, you don't actually own them. You pay to the company, you use them. In this case for FIFA, use them for 1 year because that's while the game is on. And then next year, they won't value anything, which means that a person who actually wants to invest on the game needs to invest the same amount of money every year. Of course, this is especially critical for FIFA. This is the worst case scenario. In the other games is not like so renewable every year, but it kind of is because then the games have seasons, then the games change in some way, and you kind of lost everything that you have invested, or you go to the black market to sell your accounts or to sell your skins in some cases, for example, like for CSGO. So the gaming industry moves a lot of money into one direction, which is the publisher. And the way that it is so centralized and still works would mean like a huge opportunity for the entire market when it comes to a decentralized like gaming world. I'm talking, for example, regarding one unique game. And let's imagine in FIFA. Let's imagine FIFA in Web3. You would own your player. That would mean that in the next season, that same player would be used for or would represent, for example, another player for the next season. You know, you wouldn't lose the value, and you would own the game, the player, and you could sell it on any marketplace. If we take it to like the extreme situation where all the games are decentralized, you could use that same player in another game as another item. For example, it would be a super special skin on CSGO. And that same NFT would represent different things in different realities in the metaverse. So the opportunities for the gamer, that's why I started with ownership, is exactly like owning everything that you invest in the gaming industry, which, by the way, is quite a lot of money if we count the worldwide investment in game items.
Yeah, I think it's already more, the gaming overall, it's already more valuable than the film and the music industry
the movie,
together, and by far together and by far. It's not even close. But I like the idea of all the hours that someone spends playing. You could use either in the terms of a FIFA card or coins in the game, and then you could use them to buy dinner. I love that idea because it wouldn't no one would have the opportunity to say that it wasn't time well spent, which is usually what they say when you spend your afternoon playing games.
Exactly.
But Gonçalo, in the perspective of a publisher, and Joana already mentioned the ownership, but what in Web3 gives the publisher more incentives to move to Web3 than the good situation that they already have in Web2? Because as Joana mentioned, most of the dynamics of the game and what you purchase, either the game or within the game, goes to the publisher. So if Web3 means that more of the revenues and the streams that are generated go to the owners, what incentives do they have to make that transition? If that could mean, I'm not saying it does, if that could mean that they earn less money from the games they are producing.
Yeah, so there's a couple of benefits for the publishers in the gaming studios as well. The ownership is not only good for the players, but also for the companies, because if a user owns items from another game, I can do couple of interoperability between games. So having our game, Volt Games is developing a game, and we can check the wallet from a certain user and go, like, imagine, we can check if he has another NFT from Porsche or whatever, and if he has an NFT from Porsche, we can use a model or a car model in our game, in our football game, and all of a sudden there's like a player driving a car in the middle of the field. So in terms of interoperability, I think it's one of the biggest benefits for the studios and the publishers. I think because otherwise you would need to talk with the Porsche brand, try to get the both teams aligned, and it's really difficult because if you are not that big of a studio, it's really hard to talk with Porsche or with Amazon or whatever. But if everything is open and written on blockchain, and blockchain is public, and it will never change, we can check everything. So for us as a studio, it's really easier to do this kind of partnerships, even if they don't want it. Obviously, it's not good if none of the companies want, but most of the times we can do the interoperability between projects, and I think that's where the Web3 gaming studios are really trying to focus on, because it's really easy to get a partnership like this. In the Web2 world, Volt Games started as a Web2 company, and it was really hard to get partnerships with other gaming studios because we are worried about the IPs, we're worried about if they copy our ID or whatever. In Web3 is completely different. Like we can use everything, and I think people and studios are more aligned on that sense.
Talking about the transition to Web3, and of course you both have worked either in the traditional gaming, and even with Volt you have produced mobile games before, and Joana, you are working with and like building a Web3 layer within normal and regular Web2 games. What is missing for us to have like a good case study of a large amount of people playing a Web3 game and seeing, okay, this works, I like this, I could be addicted to playing this while I'll go on the subway? What is missing and what has contributed? I know there was like the Axie Infinity case that didn't contribute, but not necessarily talking about that yet. What is missing for me to be on my phone instead of playing I don't know, some soccer game? I'm not playing a Web3 game yet.
Joana, I don't know if Gonçalo.
Yeah.
Sorry. I started
already. Yeah. You can go first.
I don't know if Gonçalo will agree with me, and don't take this as a provocation. But I think what is missing is like a good game, to be honest, because it's like all the games that have come to the market are way below in quality, in experience for the user, comparing to any of the Web2 top titles. Of course, I'm talking about the most played games in the world. So I don't know if you agree, but I see in your face that
I totally agree. Like it is our main point in Volt Games, and I think all of this, it was because like the Web3 gaming started in blockchain studios. So blockchain studios don't really knew how to build a game. They never built a game before, and what they tried is like, okay, we need to give some utility to the NFTs. So we are going to develop a game. And they didn't focus on the fun aspect of the game. They just focus on economy and if everything on blockchain works or not. In that case, I'm obviously talking about Axie Infinity, which was one of the first, but there are many more like this. And I think the transition here is we've seen a couple of gaming studios now building Web3 games, which is it's really different, because in our game and in our company, we focus on the fun aspect of the game. The first test that we make is only about gameplay. We don't care about blockchain. We don't care about anything related with NFTs. We just care about the core gameplay of the game. If the core gameplay of the game is fun, we then will proceed to add the NFTs layer and the blockchain layer and everything. But I think we started with the wrong foot. We, as the industry, started in the wrong foot. But I think in this year, hopefully, we are going to have really great projects built by gaming studios, and that will add Web3 aspects inside of the game.
But is it, for example, a normal? I can go just 1 minute, Joanna. For example, is it like because it has to do with the technical side. For example, building a game on Unity or building a game on a blockchain platform is really different, or is it also in terms of, for example, how the games are marketed? Because usually the challenges and the obstacles that people have in order to play a normal mobile game are less than what they need to do to play a Web3 game, because you need to buy an NFT or you need to create a wallet. That sometimes that is harder for people than just logging in with an email, or they sometimes don't even need to create an account. So what do you feel it's like the main struggle, Joanna? And you can answer first. What were you saying before? You can go.
I was just saying that, answering to the what is missing, maybe the second part of my answer would be one of the key players, just like I said regarding Amazon, one of the key players start actually playing this game of Web3 and moving to the Web3 world. The question is the ROI good enough for them? Because, as I said, they are centralizing all the operations. They are earning billions and billions every year without Web3. And probably when they open their economy, when they open to Web3, they probably are not sure about what the return on investment would be. And that's probably why most of the biggest studios have not yet taken that step. But I believe once, and that's that would be the regular evolution of gaming for me, is moving to Web3. Probably Gonçalo will agree with me. When one of the biggest players does that step, of course, that will also open more minds and bring more players and more gamers, and of course, the message will spread better. And then you asked me other things.
Yeah,
that
I
don't
asked
remember.
like after, and like it's going great, but after we have like a good game, there's still like a technical barrier or a marketing barrier when you try, because you can have the best game in the world, but if people don't find out about it, or if they suspect there's something not going great with it, they won't play it. So what's kind of the next step once we have like that game? How could people find about it and feel that they don't have that many barriers?
Well, it would always start, and in the Web3 world, I've just entered in this world 2 years ago, which seems like 10, but still only 2. I believe that the power of the community is huge. It's very important, just like when you launch an NFT collection, it's very important that you onboard the community, like since the first steps, to tell them about the story, what you are creating, even before the game launch, even before the game is ready. You can have beta testers, you can have people giving you real feedback. That's like for me, the first steps to market. And I would only talk about that because I'm not a developer at all, so I don't know anything before that. I only know when to start to market the game. But if the game would have a play to earn version, one of the strategies that we have also used in one of our launches, Web3 gaming launches, is to have a free to play version also available, so that anyone, just like you said, just by entering an email, can just sense the gameplay, how it works. The colors, the music, everything about the gameplay and the user experience can be felt even without buying an NFT. Because if that's a barrier, because it is, of course, because you need to invest, you probably need to be on top of the mint to buy it at a good price, etc., etc. And not all the users are up to that effort. So I think it's important to have this free-to-play version to keep adding more and more users, and then, of course, bring them onto the real Web3 version.
Yeah, it's cool. Tell me, Gonçalo, you were saying something?
No, yeah. So I like, as you said, I think the biggest problem now is, as a gaming studio, we don't only want the Web3 users to play the game, because it's still a niche. We don't have that many Web3 users that want to play a mobile game about soccer. So it's like only a couple of thousand users. So what we want, and what I think every publisher and gaming studio needs to do, is having a game where they can it can be played by Web2 users and Web3. And that's obviously kind of a challenging, because you need to create two loops, as Joana said, and we are going to have that. We are going to add a free-to-play loop. So any Web2 user that wants to play the game, they can play the game. They don't even need to know about blockchain. They don't even need to know that we have blockchain and Web3 in our game. They can simply play the game and have fun. And if they want to buy skins, we are going to have, and I think most of the gaming studios are coming from this angle. We are going to have like skins inside of the game that users can purchase as they purchased before, but it's in reality an NFT. If they ever want to retrieve or withdraw those skins as NFTs to their custom wallet, they can do it. If they don't care at all about Web3, they just can use the skins, and that's it. And one thing that you mentioned also, Miguel, was regarding the logging system. And I think I've tried to play a couple of Web3 games myself, and I'm from the space, and it was like a nightmare. I tried to buy an NFT, and then I had to go to exchange to get some coin, and then I had to swap to another coin, and then have a couple of other coin to pay the gas fees. It was like a nightmare to play the game. I spent like 2-3 hours trying to do this purchase just to enter the game. And as a mobile user, or as a Web2 user, or even as a Web3 that don't really care about the game, they will not spend this time. They will just, if they don't enter in the game, and talking about the mobile market, if they don't enter the game in the first 20 seconds, they will leave the game, uninstall, and install another game. And we don't want that. So we are going to have a login system, either by wallet or by Google, or by Discord or Twitter or Facebook or wherever, like social media login, and also wallet for the Web3 users. And in any time they can swap their login or add a Web3 layer into the Web2 login that they used. And I think this is really important, because as a gaming studio, you want to have users, you want to go mass market. So you have to do user acquisition in social media, like on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever. And if you have a barrier in Web3, a barrier like where you have to buy an NFT to enter, or if you have to create a wallet and sign in with your wallet, it's going to be really hard to do user acquisition, because your CPI, or cost per install, is going to be huge. If you have like a free-to-play version where anyone can play, and then if they really like the game, you can start by introducing Web3 elements inside of the game, and they can even do the minting inside of the game, instead of having to leave the game, go to a computer, buy the NFT, then go back to the game. If we can do everything inside of the game, I think that's going to be like really huge for the gaming space. And that's what we are trying to achieve. And we have seen a couple of mobile companies as well trying to achieve the same.
I would just add to what Gonçalo said, because as also managing the community and having some Web3 launches in our own platform, one of the things that I realized is that the entry barriers are, of course, it's very important from the gaming development side to make it easier. But I think and I'm talking about like we Web3 community tend to overcomplicate even the way that we say things, why do we say it's an NFT when, just like what you said, it's just a skin? I mean, and using this jargon, using this complexity of even in the language, really complicates the entire experience for the user. So one of the things, apart from educating, and that's obviously a very important part, educating the user, educating the gamer, it's really like simplifying the entire experience. And one good example, not exactly in the gaming scene, but I don't know if you remember Reddit's
with the
collection. They didn't even mention the word NFT, and they sold out an NFT collection by using very simple and very common language that people actually understood. And I mean, it doesn't need to be all those jargons, all those complex words. And it's very important that who is developing the experience takes also this into consideration to attract Web2 people, of course.
Yeah, but one thing, and I wanted to move a little bit to the business side of gaming. You guys mentioned a lot the play to earn model, which is kind of the main model that most of the companies that are trying to enter this space are betting. But there were also a lot of challenges that model has provided, because you need a lot of things for it to go well, and in most cases and in most models that some companies tried, it wasn't sustainable, and then in the end it didn't work out so well. What for you that and especially for you, Gonçalo, but Joanna, I also want to hear from you, but what would be the ideal business model in Web3 for a company if it's not necessarily play to earn, but there would be other that could be more sustainable in order to not be so reliant on the money that users are generating, but there's a more sustainable model either for the players or for the company that's producing the games?
Yeah. So when we started developing Web3 games, we started analyzing play to earn system, and in a game, play to earn don't really work because people are too focused on the earning part and not on the playing part. So people are not playing for fun, which is the main focus of the game. They are playing to earn money, and they will get mad if they have teammates that don't really play as they want, because they are actually losing money, and they enter the game with that mindset that, okay, I'm playing this game to earn money. And myself, I've entered a couple of play to earn games to test a couple of things. And as soon as I enter with the mindset that, okay, I'm buying this NFT because I'm going to profit X amount of money each game, and then after a couple of games, I'm going to sell the NFT. As soon as you enter with this mindset, I think you are no longer enjoying the experience of playing the game itself. You are just trying to get money from a game. So for us, we haven't, or we didn't associate it with the play to earn in the game itself. Obviously, there are platforms that can provide a play to earn experience, but in the game itself, we don't really associate it with the play to earn. We feel that play and earn is the best approach to that, because the earning aspect is just secondary. You are playing the game because you are having fun, because you want to play with your friends and I don't know, beat the opponents and have fun. But you are still learning a couple of things. It might not be much, but you are still learning. So I think by changing only this phrase from play to earn to play and earn, I think it's total different mindset for each user, and you can even change it to something not even related with the earning aspect, which is something and own. So play and own. In that case. And as Joana said, one of the most important Web3 features is the ownership. So if you are giving the ownership to the users, it's best than talking about the earning aspect. Because with this mindset, they are buying the skins and they feel that they own the skin, and not they are buying the skins because they want to earn more money each game and to cash out just by playing the game. So I think only by changing the play to earn to play and earn, or even by play and own, I think it's one of the biggest things that a gaming studio can do to educate the users that it's not supposed to earn money by playing our game, but it's supposed to have fun, own your NFTs and own your skins, and if possible, you can earn a little bit, but that's not the focus.
And your Exceedme as a platform kind of organizes competitions and gives like the Web3 element. How can a Web3 game and kind of esports, because in the end, what Exceedme can be included somewhere within the esports dimension, how can they work together when you're like different players competing against each other, instead of just trying to be the best within the game and try to get the benefits that the game gives them for being better and better playing it?
Yes. So, well, first of all, yes. So we are actually bringing this component of play and earn in this case, in the majority of the cases for Web2 games, CSGO, Dota 2, Warzone 2. So we have a couple of games, and we will have many more coming soon, still in the Web2 world. Talking about esports and the Web3 world, first it's important to settle that not every game can become an esport. And I mean, it has to be somehow competitive, okay? And we have many games. There are many games that are just, it's a story, and you play the story, and that's it. You are not competing with anyone. Of course, we can generate some competitions like in-game, like how fast you can manage to do a certain task or whatever. But I mean,
or who completes
default,
the game the fastest. Like I completed in 10 hours
exactly.
instead of 20. But yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
we can add some competitive layers, but not all the games are competitive. The way that we are trying to build this the platform and also onboarding Web3 games, we are focusing, of course, because of our like the reason we were born, we are focusing on Web3 competitive games. In this case, the play and earn is exactly what you said. It's not like the considering only the investment that I'm doing on the NFT, how much will I get on return, and how fast will I do an ROI of 3 times, 10 times, 20 times. Because unfortunately, people got a bit biased by the experiences like Axie Infinity, that I believe that saved many lives in subdevelopment countries. I'm not saying that was not the case, but it's not sustainable. At the end, it's kind of a pyramid system. I don't know if I can say this, but it is. I mean, it is. So when we are introducing here the esports layer and the competitive layer, we are able to allow gamers to compete with each other, to challenge each other, and to earn some money out of that effort, out of that time that they spend every day, and they can somehow monetize that time investment that they are doing. So that's basically what we are trying to do here, not only for Web2 but also with Web3 games.
And keeping on the business side, which is of course more boring than talking about the games, but I think it is interesting, because especially in the area of not necessarily mobile gaming, but in the online gaming overall, you have the issue of a lot of the games that get popular. They are either bought or downloaded across platforms like the App Store or the Google Store, that take a huge fee out of the revenues that are generated for those games. So like we mentioned before, when you have a company like Amazon getting into this game is important because they can offer other solutions. Do you see any situation where a company like Apple, Google, or Steam would make the transition and like stop like putting the 30% price tag on the games that they are distributing? Or do you still think that that's still a bit far away in terms of the gaming industry? Gonçalo, you can go first.
I'm not sure if they will ever take down their fee, because it's their way of to have a profit in every game and every purchase. But definitely that Apple and Google Play are working in a system that will allow NFTs inside of the games. They are working on something called a Google Wallet or an Apple Wallet, where it's going probably to be like an ecosystem where you can have your NFTs. Steam is the only platform that didn't really announce anything related to NFTs yet. I think there were a couple of games that tried to put NFTs inside of the Steam and they got banned. So Steam is the only one that don't really have anything related with NFTs yet. But Apple and Google will for sure be helpful for the developers and for the users regarding NFTs. And we've seen this that they already allow people buying NFTs inside of the game if you pass through their fee, obviously. But if you buy coins inside of the game, they will get their 30%. You then can use that coin to buy NFTs. So they already allow that, either Google Play and Apple, and they are developing a system to make this process easier for everyone.
And Joana, could there be any platform that, when we talk about Web3 gaming, could be the one used instead of Apple or Google, or that will also be hard to happen?
I'm not sure. Since I read a couple of months ago that Apple is the biggest gaming company in the world, that which, by the way, shocked me because come on, how can they say something like this? I mean, they are everything but gamers. But well, they are indeed, in terms of volume and in terms of users, they are the biggest gaming company in the world. I would have some doubts, but I don't know. What Web3 world has shown me and has taught me since like these 2 years is that everything can be a bit unpredictable, and sometimes the biggest investments and there are crazy amounts of money coming from nowhere knows where. So no one knows where. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, to be honest.
But what about instead of talking about the mobile gaming, if we talk about probably the more traditional gaming that everyone thinks, which is like playing PlayStation or playing Xbox, how could Web3 work in there? It would be just another layer on their usual app stores as well, or would there be anything different in terms of either in terms of development of the games, or in terms of how they are bought by gamers? How would that work?
Both the systems, both Xbox and which is related to Windows because of Windows 10 and Windows 10 gaming, but PlayStation already have their own marketplace, already have their own coin system and point system. So currently you can buy stuff in any of these systems, which are centralized, but at some point they can be the first movers if they want to decentralize this and imagine the possibilities of having all the games that they have on their market, on their marketplace, and all the items that they sell on their marketplace being interoperable between games, between platforms. I mean, the opportunities are huge, and Microsoft has already been kind of doing this when it opened Windows 10 gaming for everyone, so you can play the same game on console and on the PC. So it's kind of one step. It was already some years ago. I was still working at Microsoft, so I know the entire pitch. And but yes, so I think that that could be an option. Yes, if we're not focusing so much on the mobile gaming.
Going to
I just want to complement what Joana said. I think it's just a matter of time, because as soon as they have some pressure from the game studios that are working with them and that they want to have some kind of NFT integrated into their games, they will create like an NFT marketplace, either inside of the like their systems or Xbox system or Sony system. But I think it's just a matter of time. I think we just need a really great game coming out in this year, hopefully, to make things move forward.
Okay, guys. One final question for both of you, which is the same question but on a different perspective. So, Joanne, I'm going to start with you. And in terms, and you of course working in the community side of these games, what trend would you like to see in 2023 in terms of how Web3 games are trying to communicate their gameplay and their brand and try to attract more users into this space?
Well, one thing, sorry for not being so creative here, but it's really one thing that I have mentioned, and it's like avoiding complicated message. Like, let's simplify. The biggest trend for me would be, and it's all over the Web3 space, but of course I'm working with gaming, so let's focus on the gaming side. Like, let's simplify and let's lower the barriers, the entry barriers in this market, to make sure that the Web2 gamers have an opportunity and see this as an opportunity to have fun, to invest, to spend their time. And so there are many more opportunities for studios, for platforms like Exceedme, for launch pads, and for all the gamers, because I mean, if we have more people playing, it will be even funnier. So I think that's the main trend I would hope for in 2023.
And Gonçalo, the same question, but on the technical or gameplay side, if you want, what trend would you like to see in 2023? Maybe the first like blockbuster game in Web3.
Yeah, for sure.
And it would be yours. And it would
yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah. If it would be MetaStar, which is the game that we are developing, it would be like wonderful. But I think the main thing that I want, and I already said this before, is people that are building blockchain and Web3 gaming to focus on gameplay first, and not only on the blockchain aspect of it or the Web3 layer of it, and try to do like a mix, because I don't think we can do the transition from Web2 to Web3 like we are doing. I think we need to do it more easily for the users. Like we internally, we call it Web 2.5 as a joke, because we think that we still need to be in the middle to use the Web3 knowledge and also to have the Web2 users entering the game by not having the barrier of even buying an NFT. But even if we have a free play loop, it's already more easy for the players or for the Web2 users. And also not having like wallets and all of that complicated systems integrate in the beginning. I think it would be good for the users and for the gaming space itself.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. Being not a Web3 native, I truly believe that gaming can be the easiest way for like getting the next generation of users into Web3. I believe it will be with a game, either on our phones or within a console or anything. So I truly believe that that will somehow happen. I don't know if still this year, but tell me.
And no, I was just complimenting on what you're saying, and maybe in 1 or 2 or 3 years we will just talk about gaming and not Web3 gaming. Just like a couple of years ago we were looking at mobile gaming and all seeing will this work or not, and now it's just gaming. And Web3 will be exactly the same trend, I believe.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much for spending this minute with me. It was wonderful to talk with you, and I really hope to talk to you soon about gaming and not Web3 gaming. And hopefully. And
sounds like a plan.
And thank you as well to whoever is listening to this episode, and thanks to everyone who is listening to the past 3 episodes. Don't forget to follow D-Nights on YouTube, on Spotify, on Twitter. Don't forget to go to dnights.com and check their events. They are usually really fun. And don't forget to also subscribe to their Telegram group if you want to keep up with the major announcements. Once again, thank you for being on that side, and good D-Night.